Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are going to get into two really powerful legal promises that, believe it or not, you might have already made. We're talking about indemnity and guarantee. I mean, think about it. Have you ever co-signed a loan? Or even just paid for car insurance? Well, if you have, you've already stepped into this world of major legal agreements, maybe without even realizing the exact promise you were making. And that's where we get into indemnity and guarantee. Now, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, in the eyes of the law, they're worlds apart. Getting this right is so important. So let's break it down. All right, first up, we have what I like to call the safety net contract. The official name for this is a contract of indemnity. The whole idea here is basically reimbursement. It's a straight up promise from one person to another that says, hey, if you lose money because of something I do or even something someone else does, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll make you whole again. And you know what's great about it? It's so simple. A contract of indemnity is just a two-way street. That's it. You've got the indemnifier, that's the one making the promise, and the indemnity holder, the one who's being protected. Simple. The perfect everyday example of this is car insurance. Your insurance company, they're the indemnifier. You are the indemnity holder. Their responsibility to you is what we call primary and direct. If you get into a fender bender, they are your first and only call. They are the safety net. Okay, so now let's switch gears from that simple two-way street to something a little more crowded, the backup plan. Legally, this is known as the contract of guarantee. Now listen closely to that wording. If a third person fails. See, this isn't about covering your loss directly. It's about me stepping in only when someone else drops the ball and doesn't do what they promised to do. And this is where it gets interesting. Unlike the simple two-way deal of indemnity, a guarantee is more like a triangle of promises. It always, and I mean always, involves three different people or groups. So let's go back to that loan you co-signed for your friend. In that scenario, your friend is the principal debtor, the bank is the creditor, and you, my friend, are the surety. See? You're not the first person they call. You are the backup plan. Okay, so we've got the safety net, that's indemnity, and we've got the backup plan, that's guarantee. Let's really put them head to head and see exactly where they split. Okay, let's look at this chart. The differences are huge. Indemnity, two parties, one contract. Nice and clean. Guarantee, whoa, now we have three parties. And it's really like a web of three interconnected contracts. But here is the absolute most important difference, the one thing you really need to get, liability. In an indemnity, the promise is primary. It's a direct line. But in a guarantee, your promise is secondary. It only gets triggered if the main person defaults. The whole point is different, right? One is about reimbursement. The other is all about security for the lender. Yeah, you can just imagine your insurance company saying this. Their obligation to you is there from day one. There's no one else in the picture for them to look to first. But this is the voice of you, the cosigner. The bank literally can't come after you for the money unless your friend has already failed to pay. Your entire responsibility hinges on that default. So this all leads to a really important question, especially if you're ever thinking about being someone's backup plan. I mean, it is a serious promise to make. But the good news is, no, not necessarily. The law gets that guarantors are in a pretty tricky spot, so it actually gives you specific ways you can be let off the hook or discharged from that promise. Yeah, your promise is not set in concrete. The law provides a few escape hatches. For example, if the bank and your friend decide to change the loan terms without telling you, you could be off the hook. Or what if the bank does something that lets your friend, the original borrower, out of the deal? Well, you might get out too. And this is a big one. If the bank wasn't totally upfront with you about all the risks when you signed, that whole guarantee could be considered invalid from the start. So after digging into both of these powerful legal ideas, what's the one thing you absolutely have to walk away with? Honestly, it all just boils down to this. Indemnity is a direct two-person deal to cover a loss. Think safety net. A guarantee is a secondary three-person deal to back someone else up. Think backup plan. And it's so important to get that because even though a guarantor's liability is secondary, if and when it gets called in, it is very, very real. So the next time you're asked to put your name on that dotted line, just ask yourself that simple question, because knowing the answer could make all the difference in the world. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.